getting ready for their first exam, their unit exam. So I'm going to take some time to kind of talk about what the exams are, how long they go, the points, the rubric, all that kind of stuff. All right, so generally, first off, let me say that if you're looking for the exam right now, you may see it, you may not. I do not open the exam up until the beginning of the week. So for instance, let's just say this is Unit 1 of a traditional 16-week course. It will open up on Sunday at 1 a.m. If there is a study guide or tips or suggestions sheet, probably not a study guide, I hardly do those, it'll open up at the same time the exam does on Sunday, and it'll be due that Saturday night, 11:59 p.m. If this is a summer course, it's likely that this will not open up for a couple of days before it's due, considering, like, say, a 4-week summer course is really intensive. So anyway, when it does open up, this is how it will work. Your basic unit tests are 50 points, and they are short answer tests. So what you'll get, and you'll notice from the description and everything like that, you'll go in, you'll click in, you'll have a list of items. You are to choose 5 of those items. You can have anywhere from 10 to 8 or 7. Sometimes I just give you 5 and say write about all 5 of them. But I generally try to give you a choice, give you a choice. So let's just say you get 10 items, you choose 5 and write a short answer for each one. So we're talking about short answer being a small paragraph. I'd say about 6 sentences is good for each one. And now I'm not going crazy about, if we're talking about little bitty short choppy sentences or big compound complex sentences, I'm not talking about that. If you're worried about that, you've got some bigger fish to fry than your sentence patterns. But anyway, you'll go in and there's 3 particular things that are important for your short answers. Number 1 is the author. Now, if it's world lit, we're talking about ancient literature, I don't care. You don't have to really worry about who the author is. However, the further we get up, I do need to know who the author is. So if it's Romanticism and it's a poem from William Blake, you need to tell us this is a poem from William Blake. So we need to know the author and the work. So this is The Tiger by William Blake. We need to know that right there particularly. So 3 things: the author, if applicable, the work in which it comes, from which it comes, or for which it's associated. Sometimes it may be a quote directly from a poem or a story or something, or maybe it's a theory or something that's connected directly to a specific work, or maybe it's just I ask you for it's the Enlightenment or the Age of Reason. There may be many works connected to that. Pick one and that really focuses on that idea. So author, work, and then the significance, and this is the most important one. So if you got to write 6 sentences, this is where the bulk of it should go. What is the significance of that particular item to the work that you chose? So let's say we're dealing with, say your item is something like civilization from Gilgamesh. Okay, tell us civilization. It's associated with Gilgamesh, and what's the significance of that idea of civilization to the text? Think of it this way. Answer this question: what are we supposed to learn about civilization from that? Okay, or say it is The Tiger from William Blake, and the item that you picked was a quote from the poem. It's a very important quote called "Fearful Symmetry." So what does that mean, and what are we supposed to learn from that quote itself, from the poem? And so you'll have 5 items, and they could be anything. What can they be? Like I said, they could be a quote from the work. I'm not going to grab some weird, obscure quote. It's going to be something that's, if you studied it deeply, if you read up on it, watch videos, do whatever, it should not be unfamiliar to you. It could be a quote from the work. It could be, like I said, some type of theory. Like if we're dealing with Poe, when we're reading his Purloined Letter or anything really he does, say we're talking about the poetic sentiment. I have a handout a lot about the poetic sentiment. You should know what that means exactly, and you'll be able to associate that with Poe's reading. It could be something like that, or it could be like the big literary movement, like the Enlightenment, Romanticism, something like that, realism. Anything at all. It could be anything that is associated with your readings. They are not associated just as a theory by itself outside of the text or our readings. They are not associated with other readings outside of what we're required to read for the class. They're always, they're always associated with the required readings. Okay, so if you are, and this is what I tell students, I generally don't give study guides, because if I give you study guide, that's all you're gonna do is memorize for a study guide. I don't want that. I don't want you to memorize anything. It's a waste of time at this level of a literature course. I don't really give study guides. I usually don't do that. I'm not going to tell you exactly what you got to do to write it down. I want you to discover it on your own. And so you get some random item. You should know it from your own readings. If you are reading the text, if you're watching any videos, reading any handouts, using the discussion board to discuss, using the journals to develop your ideas, you should know the work enough to be able to reference it and talk about it and what you think it is. And I don't want some kind of parroted back answer. I want your answers on what you think that particular item means and what it's supposed to be teaching us. Of course, I'm not going to say that. I mean, I don't expect you to grab a Robert Frost poem and tell us it's teaching us about Elvis Presley. 100. Whatever before about his death. 15 years before he dies. I don't care about that. That's, in other words, there can be a wrong answer. I'm not telling you there's no such thing as a wrong answer here. It needs to be in line with what we're learning in the class. You need to be hitting the course objectives in a way. But at the same time, I want you to understand that I want you to dig and I want you to discover those answers. I'm not going to give you the answers. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is you need to memorize to spit back at me. That's useless. You're going to have to develop those on your own. So it's always a good idea to start early. Obviously, you can't study a study guide or look at the test before you take it or anything like that, but it's good to pay attention to your objectives, watch your videos, read your handouts, read the text. Always in your Norton, read the introductory part of the text or the author before you actually read the required text. And big time is ask me questions. A lot of students just don't, they'll say, I didn't know what you wanted on the exam. Well, they took no effort in asking me before the exam. So if you're not sure, if you need some help, you're just really just not sure, especially say you do bad on the first test and you want to do good on the second test, let's talk about it, okay? And I'll do everything I can to help you. Do not reference websites, handouts, or other outside external sources. That's cheating. I consider it plagiarism. You'll get a 0 on that, and it'll be held to the plagiarism policy in the syllabus. So do not do that. However, I do not care. I do actually encourage you to have your textbooks open, the reading, your Norton. So if you're not sure, like, hey, I think that's Christopher Columbus's, letters of discovery, a letter of discovery. So I'm going to find that and go through it and find it and see what the context is. The bad news is well, I think it's good news. You have 5 items to write about and you have an hour and 15 minutes. That's plenty of time. So I think if you're going to go and find it and kind of get some context and write about it and write a paragraph about it, I don't think that should be a problem. However, the bad news is that if you haven't read and studied and you got to just dig and find where this could possibly have come from, then you're just going to burn up time and put yourself in a bad spot. I always say that if you are, like I said, watching the videos, reading the handouts, reading the text, doing your discussions and journals, not saying it's going to be easy and it's a guaranteed A, but it's going to be so much easier on you. If you're not reading, if you're not contributing, if you're not opening up the videos or the handouts, if you're not discussing with other students or asking questions, you're probably going to fail. And that's just the truth of the matter. So please keep that in mind. And that's how your test will work. And in your rubric, you'll see your rubric. It'll pop up too. I even have the rubric posted in the rubrics folder in the main getting started page of the LMS, which is Learning Management System, whatever it may be that you may be using, so you'll be able to just go in there and see what it is and how I'm going to grade it specifically. But always, y'all, questions. If you have questions, you need anything, you need to let me know. All right, I think that's enough. I've talked for almost 10 minutes, so I think that should help you. If not, if you need more than that, you need to message me. You need to get a hold of me, and I can help you the best I can, okay? Anyway, y'all have a good day, and let me know if you do have any questions.